Boston's going through a pivotal time of leadership change with the coming election for mayor and at least 4 open seats on the city council. A member of the council hopes to extend political change to Boston's electorate by giving any resident age 16 or 17 the right to vote. To tell us about the proposal in a home rule petition is City Councilor at Large, Julia Mejia. Thank you very much for being with us, Councilor.
Thank you for having me. Always a pleasure.
Councilor, we're talking about the right to vote in city elections, of course. Why include people who are 16 and 17 years old?
Well, because 16-year-olds have the right to drive. 16-year-olds are paying taxes for those who work. And so many, oftentimes we see young people advocating for the changes that are impacting their lives, but they don't have a voice or a real vote at the table. So this is an opportunity to give them literally a seat at this table and to be able to decide for themselves who they believe can best represent them and their issues.
Because I know we have a great number of youth leaders who really know their stuff. When I was their age, I wasn't up to that level when I was growing up in Boston. So I wonder, does the right to vote maybe get more teens to approach that level and engage and get more informed, maybe?
Yeah, so I started off my career in youth development, working with young people back in the 90s, and I saw how actively engaged they were in issues around violence, education, sexual health, and always seeing that they had a lot of energy and a lot of great ideas, and oftentimes will get stuck in terms of who has the power to make these ideas come to life. And I think that what we see today, 20 something years later, is these same issues continue to persist. And I think giving an opportunity to young people to vote will give them a little bit of more political lever, if you will, to encourage elected officials and candidates to really pay attention to the issues that are impacting youth. So I see this as an opportunity to not just get more young people civically engaged, but to also do it in a way that they understand that their voice will actually matter in an election.
What about a ripple effect on their parents, especially if parents are eligible to vote? Do you see that maybe getting more parents engaged politically in Boston?
Absolutely. Right now, a lot of the work that we do with young people, we see them inspiring their parents and educating their parents about the candidates and the issues that they care about. And oftentimes we see young people literally bringing adults to the polls. And I think that this shift in giving youth an opportunity to actually vote for themselves will inspire parents to step it up a notch.
Well, I also know in this proposal, once those students get a little older, when they're at least 18, they would still have to get registered again the usual way with the usual documentations. But I'm also wondering here about how this has worked out in other places where it's been implemented already.
Yeah, so we have seen cities like Somerville and Cambridge have already taken the initiative to organize around this issue. What we have seen is that um, the home rule petition situation is the fact that we have to ask our parents for permission, literally, and we need to get some buy-in from our state reps to recognize this as something that young people deserve a right to vote. And I think that that's where the battle really is going to be fought, is on the municipal level is one thing, but we need our buy-in from our state reps to also see this as a matter of importance as well.
I want to ask you about another item that you've worked on, and this has already been approved by the council. This is an ordinance that would set up a permitting process for, we were talking about residential retail kitchens. It sounds almost like a contradiction in terms, but this could be really important for people. How could it help?
Well, we saw. I'm so glad that you framed it this way, Chris, because we know there are a lot of people already operating out of their homes, and this is just a way to remove some of the barriers to the bureaucracy and legalize it on the state level. This already is possible, so it was really about how do we get Boston to join other municipalities in doing just that. I see this as an opportunity for small at-home entrepreneurs to build capital and to be able to incubate in their own homes so that eventually they can raise the financial capital that they need if they choose to go into a brick and mortar. So it's really about creating opportunities by removing barriers for folks in this space. I'm really excited about it.
Now, how would this work? Because, normally, if I open a restaurant, the inspectors come by every so often and they give me a grade. What happens with food production in someone's home?
Well, what this ordinance does is the way we've laid it out is first people need to make sure that they are certified with Safe Serve, that they have met all the health inspections, also have an understanding of labor laws as well, and making sure that fire safety, all of those things are part of the work. But the way we have positioned it is to ensure that people can, is as simple as just going to City Hall, applying for your permit, and being able to operate. You can't make more than $25,000 a year under this ordinance. The goal is not that you're going to open up a restaurant and get rich off of it, but it's really a way for you to be able to supplement your income.
Now, I know one thing we had, even long before the pandemic, we had a food incubator in Dorchester that helped a lot of individual entrepreneurs expand and use their abilities. But is there a gap that this would fill? I mean, because it seems like the incubators like on that scale don't work for everybody.
Yeah, so no, I'm glad that you asked the question. I mean, the way we see this is really an opportunity. This is cottage food. So these are things that do not require foods that need to be stored at a very particular temperature. So again, just being really super mindful, you're not going to be able to open up a restaurant with tacos and the whole nine yards. These are just cottage foods, things that don't require any type of store, excuse me, temperature. So I just want to be really clear about what the ordinance is geared towards. But in the same token, not everybody wants to open up in a whole full commercial space. Not everyone has the capacity nor the desire to do something that's bigger than just maybe 20 cookies a week, right? So it just gives people the flexibility to be able to produce at their own pace.
Now, of course, the people who are doing this work, they still need access to some capital and maybe some kind of entry into markets where people can buy their product. Anything you have in mind that would help them with that?
Yeah, absolutely. So the city of Boston, the Office of Economic Development is really ready and lined up to help support some of our businesses, being able to help them grow their business literally. So building the infrastructure for that type of technical assistance that people will need to be able to do so successfully is part of the work as well. And thinking about this, I see these small at-home entrepreneurs being able to sell their products directly to some of the local businesses that are right in their neighborhoods, right? So let's say, for instance, if you have a bakery, already a storefront, you can partner up with one of these at-home entrepreneurs to be able to sell you their baked goods that will be featured in their business, right? So it's really about cooperative economics here. It's an opportunity for everybody to help support this work.
Well, I can see how this would help any kind of person with any kind of background or especially in food, but we have an immigrant population. They know about how to prepare things that are not widely available. There's demand for it. Couldn't this be a really big thing for them?
Absolutely. I mean, when we initially introduced this hearing order at first, and then it became a working session, and then obviously it turned into an ordinance, the whole idea was really about who it was that we were trying to support. And it's these small entrepreneurs, immigrants, people of color who live in low income communities. So for instance, for me to have someone who can sell something that I am used to eating in my home country, to know that I can actually get this right in my own neighborhood. It's about stimulating the economy through localizing these products.
Well, thank you very much for taking the time to be with us.
Thank you.
Boston City Councilor Julia Mejia. We'll have more news in just a moment.